Right. Okay, Corey, thanks for joining me for this short chat interview, whatever you
Thanks
want
for
to
having
call
me.
it. Yeah. You graduated over 2 years ago now from Trinity College. You did the marketing and the masters in digital marketing, and you've been working for HubSpot for almost 2.5 years now. So I thought it'd be great to get your input on what it's like working at HubSpot. Tell us a little bit about your career journey since you graduated. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing for HubSpot, and kind of then go back from when you started with HubSpot back in Dublin.
Totally. Yeah. HubSpot's been a great company to work for. And I've had a wonderful journey there. It actually started with an internship in the Dublin office
Yeah.
when I was working like pretty much immediately after graduation. I secured an internship there with a team that was responsible for creating marketing campaigns to attract leads from English speaking regions throughout Europe.
Mm.
So I was responsible for creating ebooks, running webinars, doing co-marketing campaigns with other tech businesses in the industry, and then running marketing campaigns to drive signups for the webinar, downloads for the ebooks, etc. And then we would hand off those leads over to the sales team. So I was in
Yeah.
that position for about 9 months or so. And then I got the opportunity to secure a full-time position actually back in the States in their HubSpot's headquarters in Cambridge. So now my role is on the HubSpot Academy team, and my job is to create marketing education to help marketers do marketing better,
Mm.
particularly in like the small to medium-sized business range, and helping people either upskill their own career, learn new skills that will benefit them in their own career, or help business and business leaders like upskill their business and become a more inbound business as well. So right now, I'm actually working on a new certification course on digital advertising,
Yeah.
which is awesome because I'm leveraging a lot of the education that I took during my time at Trinity College. I think back to the course on digital marketing implementation, and a lot of the things that I learned in that course, I'm like directly applying into the new certification that I'm working on. So it's been a really cool journey, and I love to see how my formal education is now coming back into the education that I'm working on today.
Okay, that's interesting. And so the transition then from Ireland to America was pretty seamless for you, was it?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel super lucky. I'm from the United States originally,
Yeah.
and I knew going to Dublin to do my master's program, I wanted to work there for a while, but my ultimate goal was definitely to make it back to the States to be closer
Yeah.
to my friends and family here.
Yeah.
And HubSpot was a perfect company for that. Like it's an American-based company with offices throughout the world. So I felt really lucky to secure a position there in the Dublin office and then be able to take an opportunity to make the transition out to the States. And it definitely was a super smooth transition. HubSpot did a really good job of making sure all of like the bows were tied on both positions before I transitioned, and a super warm welcome in the Cambridge office. I'd never been to the East Coast before, let alone lived in Boston. So it was a great experience, awesome opportunity.
Good. Good. And tell us a little bit about why you picked Trinity. There's
Yeah,
a lot of colleges out there, especially when you're coming from America. There's so many options. So why did you settle on Trinity as the place to study?
yeah. So there's two clear reasons why I wanted to study at Trinity, and actually it was the only college I applied to. There wasn't really a comparable alternative, in my opinion. The
Okay.
first is that I wanted to study abroad. That was super important to me and something I didn't get to do when I was in my undergrad. So I knew I wanted to do my master's somewhere else than the United States. And then the second was that I really wanted a program focused in digital advertising or digital marketing. Um, my undergrad in communications was great from like an advertising and communications perspective, but I
Yeah.
was lacking a lot of the like technical skills that I knew I needed to get into the tech industry, which was my ultimate goal. And because the program at Trinity was 100% focused on digital marketing, it seemed like a no-brainer to me. And at the time, there wasn't really a comparable program elsewhere in the world. So
Yeah.
yeah, it just worked out.
Good. Good. Great. Um, what was job hunting like for you after during your studies? I know because the master's goes, it doesn't last long. It can go by so quickly. So I think you have to sort of get a handle on the jobs market quite quickly. So, what did you learn from job hunting in the Irish market? What advice would you give to students who are starting their masters now and will be starting that process of job hunting?
Absolutely. Yeah. The job hunt was a little bit brutal at first. It's hard because there's just so much opportunity in Dublin, in the Dublin area, especially in the tech scene right now. There's just so many places that I was interested in that I wanted to learn more about and explore throughout the interview process. My biggest learning, however, is to that I wish I would have done back then was to really zero in on what I was really good at and then what industry I wanted to be in, because that would have helped me focus on the opportunities that I had the best opportunities to succeed in. I definitely took the approach of like apply to as many jobs as possible, like get as many applications out there and see what sticks. Um, my position that I ultimately got at HubSpot though was not in that category of like the spray and pray approach. By the time I applied to the job at HubSpot, I had determined that that was a good opportunity for me. It was seemed like a great fit, and I had even like struck up some conversations with other people who I knew worked there already. So by the time I actually got to the application, I already had a pretty good concept of what HubSpot did. I was able to customize my application and make it like stand out to the recruiters there. And I think that ultimately really helped me secure the position. So my advice would be to like really take a hard look at what you're good at and what industry you want to be in, and then apply to the places that you think will help you get there and will help you that you have the best opportunities to succeed in. It's hard to put all your eggs in just a handful of baskets, but I think being able to customize your application, show the recruiters that you're serious about that company
Yeah.
will 100% pay off.
Yeah. So you're saying you understand what you want first,
Yeah,
and then yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I suppose it's getting that balance between quantity and quality, isn't it? Spending the time to do a good application. You want to send as many as you can, obviously, but spending that bit of time to make sure the CV is tailored for that role, that you're addressing the job description, and that you're making the effort, so that comes across then in the application with the recruiters.
absolutely. And I would also encourage people to take a look at their own networks,
Yeah.
either through Trinity or on LinkedIn, and take a look at who you know who has connections with somebody at the businesses that you're interested in. Because before I applied to HubSpot, I actually chatted with somebody who already worked there. She helped me with my resume to make sure that everything
Yeah.
looked up to HubSpot standards. And that made a huge difference to me. So I would definitely encourage people to try and build those connections early on at the businesses that you might be interested in working for,
Yeah.
because that will A, tell you if there's like a good culture fit. Does it seem like a good match for you as an individual? And B, you can gain a lot of advice from people who already work there, and that can really go a long way when it comes to the application process.
I understand. So what are you saying that maybe even just a simple LinkedIn email to a couple of people in the company, just to chat to them about how best to go about approaching applying for that company. Just talk to people in that company, whether it's through LinkedIn or through a friend. Just network in that way.
Absolutely, yeah, because you'll learn a lot about how the company functions, what they're all about, what their culture is like, and that can definitely let you know if it seems like the right fit for you.
It can be really good as well for when you're actually interviewing too. When they say, why do you want to work for us, and you have uh, all these interesting insights from people that actually work in the company rather than just kind of reading off the website.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Makes a lot of sense. Um, and in terms of like growth and opportunities, like in HubSpot, do you feel like there's lots of opportunities for career progression? Do you have like, do you have a mentor there? How does that work?
Yeah, HubSpot is all about personal and professional development. So they have a number of like programs that they offer to help you upskill your own skills in your own career at HubSpot. So there's some more formal programs that employees can apply to that are particularly helpful for people who are looking to make the move from individual contributor to a people manager. So they have some like formal programs. They're kind of like a mini MBA session, so to speak. So HubSpot offers a bunch of like formalized programs like that, but they also do a lot like that isn't formalized that I've personally found really helpful in my own career development. They do have a great mentorship program everybody who joins HubSpot is matched to some mentor that is typically within your same department. So within marketing, for example, but that's in another team that you don't directly work with. And these people are a great resource to help through anything and everything HubSpot. That could be anything from challenges that you're facing in your role, advice on where to get the best coffee near the office, like help with networking throughout the organization. So they're just a great resource there to make sure that you feel comfortable in your position, that you're thriving, and that they could help you in any way possible.
Yeah.
And then HubSpot is also a big fan of helping people find the best fit within the company. So even in my role now, if I was interested in exploring, if I saw another opportunity come up on another team within marketing, and it was something that I felt really passionate about, like it was when I made the switch from my internship to the HubSpot Academy team, my management was fully on board. They're like, heck yes, this seems like a great opportunity for you. It's a good opportunity for your career development. Let me support you in any way that I can to help you get there. So they're not just about getting as much as they can out of you from your own contribution on the team. They're also there to support you throughout your career progression at HubSpot as well. So that's something that I've definitely valued along my journey there.
And one thing I noticed, because I've visited HubSpot a few times now, and we've got a couple of our alumni working there as well. And the culture and the ethos is a huge emphasis on culture. And I remember looking at it's 128 PowerPoint presentation on HubSpot's values. They've done a lot in that space.
And that's what I love. Like HubSpot definitely walks the walk when it comes to culture. I think a lot of people confuse culture with perks, like default tables, free food, beer on tap, happy hours, and all of that's great and definitely adds to your experience. But I wouldn't necessarily call that culture. To me, culture is all about the people that you work with and like the atmosphere of the workplace. And to me, that is so much more important than the perks that come along with employment. Because for me personally, I am excited to get up in the morning and go into work because I work with great people. Some of them are going to be lifelong friends, and they're super inspirational people to work around, and they push me to be a better person as well as a better professional. So it's just a fun environment to be around with so many smart people. You definitely learn a lot just from working with them day in and day out.
Okay, yeah, I'm sold. And you did a few internships before you started your master's here. Would you recommend internships as a way for students to learn practical skills, learn how to apply the theory that they've learned in their education?
Definitely. Yeah, my internships were super invaluable for a few reasons. So before I joined the program at Trinity and was completing my undergrad program in communications, I did a couple different marketing internships. One was at a small startup in the Denver area that was basically building a platform for home repair people and businesses who needed repair work done. And then I also did an internship at a company called Red Robin. Here in the States, they're like a national family restaurant, basically. So I was in their creative department at that time doing photo shoots and digital advertising and stuff like that. Both of those experiences were super valuable, I think, to get me into Trinity as well as to like set me up for success post Trinity. Because I know that like I'm dedicated to my education. I understand that like what you learn in school is only as valuable as the application that you give it. So these internships are definitely a way to help tie some practical skills into like the more theoretical skills I was learning at university. So I would definitely recommend internships for that reason. But they also show prospective employers that you are a go-getter, that you are a self-starter, and that you are excited to join the workforce, and you already have a couple of different experiences that add to your marketing knowledge from a university level as well.
Very good. Okay. Last question I have, I think, is any tips for graduates when it comes to interviewing, how best to prepare? What suggestions would you have?
Yeah. So my best tip for the interview process is to always come prepared with questions for the people that you are interviewing. That was something that HubSpot really prioritizes, and every single interview that I went through, they left like 5 or 10 minutes at the end of it for my questions for them.
Okay. Yeah.
So if I didn't come prepared with some questions, like I would have definitely stood out like a sore thumb, because
Okay.
that just shows I'm not prepared for the interview. I'm not curious about the company. So my best advice for people preparing for the interview process is to do your homework, understand the company, all of that stuff that you're probably already going to do, but also think about what questions you might have for your interview panel about
Yeah.
what it's like to work there, what their experience is like, what their tips are for moving on to the next stage in the interview process. Anything like that will really just show the recruiters and the interview team that you are intrigued by the company, you want to do the best that you can, and you're willing to go that extra mile to do that extra homework in order to be more prepared for the next round of interviews that you might have to go through. So that would be my best advice.
Okay. Okay, that's really good advice. Questions at the end. I often say that if you've done a mediocre interview, but you've got a couple of good questions, you can completely save it, because it's going to be the lasting impression. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, because that shows that you are willing to do your homework and like err on the side of over preparation, which is kind of my motto in life. And that definitely comes through at the end of the stage. Like if you're a little bit nervous, you're kind of fumbling through your words. That happens to everybody during a normal interview. But if you show them at the end that you're ready to go, you have questions, you're curious, I think that definitely can make up for any faults in the interview stage.
One other thing is a question that just occurred to me is it'd be interesting to hear a bit about how HubSpot have responded to the COVID crisis, and how they are functioning as a business. I've been kind of quite surprised with how resilient companies have been, and how much recruitment is happening despite the current pandemic. And what's it been like in HubSpot since the lockdown, and how is HubSpot responding to the current market conditions?
Yeah, so HubSpot has always had an element of remote work culture baked into the way that the business functions. For years now, we've had a good proportion of our full-time employees work remotely. And even for the employees that were in one of the offices, we also have like a flexible work policy where you can work from home a couple of days a week if you need to, work from a cafe, do whatever you have to do in order to be the most productive. So from that sense, HubSpot was already in a pretty good position to go full-time remote for the past 6 months or so. Not to say that there weren't some logistical challenges for sure, but what's been most surprising to me about when we've made the move is that our leadership team has been super transparent the whole way. Some of our leadership, in fact, have even blatantly said that like it's been really hard for them to work remotely because they've got children at home, they've got other household responsibilities, and it's just been a lot to go through. So, and they've even said themselves that it's hard to like unplug when your office is 5 feet away from your bed. So like that's just having that insight from leadership, I've personally found really inspirational, because like I was feeling a lot of the same pain points. Like it's hard to give up work when you're working out of your house constantly. So they definitely were erring on the side of like, take a break when you need it. It's hard. Like I know nobody wants to take a vacation, but consider taking a vacation. It makes all the difference. So seeing that transition from just like even leadership struggling with the work from home situation, I found super inspirational.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's funny, the lines between the home life and work life become completely blurred. It's
Absolutely.
and you kind of you feel like you could work all the time. Even though it's 8 o'clock in the evening, the laptop is right beside you, so you could just open it up and have a look. And then that's something that you start doing a lot of, and the lines can become very blurred. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope to working nonstop and just completely burning yourself out.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, absolutely. That's all the questions I have. Like I said, I wanted to keep it short, just to respect your time, and also for the students. Students have nice kind of short podcast-style interviews they can listen to and digest at their own convenience. So this has been really helpful. Thank you for taking the time out to talk to me, and I'm going to look forward to sharing this with the students. So what I'll do now is I'll press end on the recording if you just stay on the line for the moment, but just to say thanks again for taking the time out to speak to the students.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks so much.
Okay, let me just stop the recording here.